Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, a lot of things are going to be taking place on NXT, as you probably can guess. As you know, I did not see last week's NXT, but I've been aware about what's been going on. Of course, Undertaker showed up, chokeslam Trick Williams, but also a lot of things taking place. Of course, with championship matches and feuds and all that. So we're going to go through all of it. But first things first, we're going to catch up with the much recent events by ChocoPro with number 462 at their big show at the Tokyo Square in Itabata called It's Time, where we have both championships on the line. And then, of course, two events in their Ichigaya Square event, number 463 and 464. So it's going to be a fun event. And then, always, we cap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news and updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the talking, let's get to it. So let's begin, of course, with one of the ChocoPro events with number 462. It's time at the Tokyo Square in Itabashi. Okay, ChocoPro number 462. This was in, of course, their big show called It's Time at the Tokyo Square in Itabashi. Now, this is one of their events they do all the time for the last couple of months. And, of course, it's one of their a bigger event that they have ever done before other than Cork and Hall, which is a much bigger event. So let's get started with this. It opened up, of course, as usual, with Mei Shruga and company doing her usual theme song that she does all the time. So it did feature, of course, Kaho, Chi, and Hiroyi to do or to be like her backup. So that pretty much sums it up right there for everyone. Now, our first match, we have a bit of a three-way tag team match. First, we have Black Komanagi, consistent of Antonio Honda and Tokiko Kirara versus Hiroya Wada and Sayaka Obihiro, aka Obi, and then finally Kaho Hiromi and Chris Brooks. Now, of course, when it comes to three-ways, we know it's a bit more chaotic because you don't know how things are going to roll up, who's going to pick up the win. Now, of course, there's pros and cons, strengths and factors here that you can tell. I mean, look, part of me thought in a way that Kaho would have been the bigger factor to lose this match due to the fact of her size and her experience as a pro wrestler. But it did not turn out that way because somehow it was, of course, Antonio Honda that was able to pick up the win on Hiroyi when he applied the schoolboy, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, during the post match, it seems Chris Brooks was not happy with the results that he lost in some fashion thanks to Antonio Honda. But it is what it is. Our next match, we have Lee Yanegawa, better known as, of course, Coyote Yonagama. She teams up with Chonshiru together, known as Kung Fu Panda. They take on Balinaki and, of course, Harashima from DDT. Now, of course, it's no secret about, how things can go up in this match. I mean, Harashima, he's a strong, capable wrestler. We've seen him, what he's capable of in the ring. Wasn't too sure where this was going to go, but in the end, it was Balinaki that did a somewhat version of Jaded onto Chonshiru. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Balinaki and Harashima picked up the win. Our next match is a very interesting one. We have Soy from Evolution. Goes one-on-one, of course, with the founder of ChocoPro, Emi Sakura. So, of course, this was a match Soy did not anticipate, but she had to be prepared because she knows she's not dealing with a slouch. She's not dealing with a lesser being. She's dealing with someone who has trained wrestlers over the years, like the first AEW Women's Champion, Riho, Hikaru Shida, and various others. And she knows it too well that she's that good. And not to mention, Emi Sakura was able to outsmart her when she applied the Magistral onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, this is our semi-main event, and this is one of 2 championship matches that took place. We have, of course, the Asian Dream Tag Team belt. Bellflower, consistent of Sayaka and Makoto, defend their championship. I'm not sure if this is their second or third defense, but they face against Hagane Shino and Sawadi Kamen. Now, there was, of course, recently, not too long ago, a #1 contendership that Hagane and Sawadi were able to pick up. But the real question is this: will Bellflower lose the belt? I mean, look, Sayaka, I have seen her grow up so much. I've seen her; she is capable of, adapting to a new style. And not to mention Makoto, a veteran wrestler in the Yoshi wrestling scene, is capable of pulling up the victories. But I wasn't anticipating Sayaka, who picked up the win by applying a pinfall on Sawadi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the championship. And just like that, Bellflower retained the belt. Now, I would have assumed, I was kind of expecting someone was going to issue the challenge, but nope, no one did. Now, our next match is our main event, is the Super Asia Championship. We have Mei Suruga defended her championship against her student, Miya Yatsuba. Now, this is a case of master versus student. Now, Mei Suruga is familiarized with this because, as you all may or may not know, or remember, of course, it was Mei Suruga who defeated, of course, her mentor and teacher, Emi Sakura, for the Super Asia Championship. But the real question is, can Miya Yatsuba pull it off? And I'm sure we would have expected. We've seen her how much she's grown, but she surprised us in this event, showing up in black gear. I don't know what's the significance of that, but it showed that she is going to show, I'm no longer that same trainee you remember me, May. I have evolved, I have grown up. I'm going to show you what I'm made of. And I have to say, Miya did exactly what she was trying to do. She exactly showed Mei Suruga, I may have been your student in your eyes when you trained me, but I have evolved since then. And now, we have seen her, she has. But unfortunately, Mei Suruga, who has more experience than her, she was able to pick up the win when she applied a jackknife. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Mei Suruga picked up the win. So basically, that's pretty much it. However, it was foretold by the general manager of ChocoPro, Kizuki. She mentioned that Mei Suruga will defend her championship in the next ChocoPro event against Rina Yamashita, which of course is a very interesting match. And I'm sure Mei Suga's like, bring it on. So we'll see how that will roll up. And then we'll get to that. But as of right now, we are done with this one with ChocoPro. Let's move on with number 463. Okay, we continue with more with ChocoPro. This is number 463. This took place on the 20th of July, of course, in Ichigaya Square. Now, this comes off right after, of course, their big show in Tokyo Square. We opened up this time with Emi Sakura. As you know, she made her return to Japan. In the recent time, we've been seeing, of course, General Manager Aoi Kizuki doing the opening, and then Chi, who's out on injury, was also participating. So that sets it up right there. But now she is back, of course, greeting the fans, giving the info of the matches. So we'll get to all of it. Now, our first match of the show is, of course, Soy teaming up with Shin Suzuki, taking on Sayaka and Hoshi Tango. Now, of course, factors of this match. Soy, as you probably can guess, she has the least experience in the entire roster, especially in her team, in her promotion evolution. But another factor is Hoshi Tango, a Argentinian former sumo wrestler. So you probably can guess that it's going to be difficult to take him down, which obvious it is, unless you are the best bros and know how to figure out how to put someone down on the ground. But it was Hoshi Tango that did the actual destruction onto Shin Suzuki. First, he applied a choke slam, and then the big splash, and just like that, he just crushed him like a pancake. And then, of course, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So, Sayaka and of course Hoshi Tango pick up the win. Next up, we have Shota Kawakami teaming up with Munetatsu Nakamura. They take on Balinaki and Harashima. Of course, once again, Harashima and Balinaki recently teamed up on the last show in Tokyo Square, which is interesting. I can see that these guys can get along great. I mean, I know Balinaki will always be a best bro with Meishru, even though he can't stand her shenanigans. But, however, teaming up with Harashima, it brings out more of a fiery with him. But factors of this match, of course, I don't know much about Shota Kawakami. I do know that he's from another promotion. As for Munetatsu Nakamura, he's from Gambari Pro. But he has grown up a lot. But in the end, it was in fact Harashima that picked up the one with a running Meteora onto Kawakami. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. In our main event, we have Kaho Hiromi. She teams up with Hiroi Iwata, taking on Emi Sakura and Mei Shruga, of course, a teacher and student, once again teaming up. Nothing too special about this, but of course, Emi Sakura, we all know she's a bit of a aggressive wrestler. She is the kind of person who would do whatever it takes to win. Well, we know Mei, as you know, some people call her the Apple Goblin, all that. And she's a bit of a obnoxious. But of course, Kaho and Mei are almost similar to each other in every way. But in the end, it was in fact Mei Shruga that picked up the win when she pinned Hiromi, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, for a Jonkin tournament, I wasn't too sure how this was gonna roll up. I mean, I can skip to it to the end. The person who won actually the Jonkin was none other than our general manager, Kizuki, and the runner-up was, of course, Kaho Hiromi. So I thought it was a very interesting way to end things, but that's how it happened on, of course, ChocoPro 463. But right now, we'll end things here with this one. Let's move on to our last ChocoPro view, and this one is number 464. Okay, last review from ChocoPro. This is number 464, and it happened in Ichigaya Square on the 26th of July. We opened up this time with Chiko Shikawa, as always, as you all know. She's out on injury that she suffered a month ago. I don't know how long she'll be out, but hopefully she'll be back. And of course, as usual, she has done the opening before, greeting the fans and giving the info on the entire match, of the matches actually. But let's get started. Our first match, we have Soy and Miya Tsuba teaming up once again, taking on Tokiko Kihara and of course Obi, or as we know her say, Obi Hero. So that's interesting. Now, of course, factors of the match, you would think, okay, Tokiko and Obi Hero have the more experience out of Soy and Miya Yatsuba. But however, one factor we can put in on this match is the cohesion. We have seen in months Soy and Miya Yatsuba have teamed up countless times. They have teamed up very well. They team very well. Something that of course is a factor. Now with Tokiko and Obi, we know they have teamed up here and there, not all the time. So that kind of tells it right there. So you got to ask yourself, which is the much better team that win? The team that has teamed up on countless times, or will it be the team that teamed up on rare occasions? We'll factor on this one. It was the team that teamed up on more occasions. It was in fact Miya that picked up the win when she applied the jackknife on Tokiko, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have singles action. We have Shota Kawakami taking on Balanaki, which was interesting. As you all know, in the last ChocoPro show, these two guys faced off each other in a tag team setting, but this time they're facing each other in a singles action. But who has the upper hand? Well, Balan, I have to say, he has a bit of the aggressive side, but he has more of the experience side also on his side that led it up. So it was in fact Balanaki that picked up the win with the pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now our main event is Kaho Hiromi teaming up with Hiroya Yawada. They take on, of course, our champions, Sayaka, one half of the Asian Dream Tag Team Champions. She teams up with the current Super Asia Champion Mei Suruga, which of course you can tell the winning side had to be, of course, with Sayaka and Mei for obvious reasons. They have more experience than both Kaho and Hiroyi. Now, it does tell us a bit of that factor as well, but in the end, it was Sayaka that picked up the win by pinning Kaho, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now for our Junkin tournament, it was something I wasn't too sure, but in the end, it was Chiko Shikawa. As you know, she's always takes the Junkin tournament very, 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 very serious, and she picked up the win. I forgot who it was, the runner-up, but I'm glad that she finally got to participate in the Junkin tournament. Like I said, I don't know when she'll be back in the ring, but we'll stay tuned for that. So right now we are officially done with ChocoPro, so let's move on with our last and final review, and that's of course NXT. Final review, NXT. Now, as you probably saw last week and this past week on Raw, SmackDown, Raw, and every WWE promotion brand, they pay tribute to Hulk Hogan, including in NXT. Now, of course, some people may not like it, some people do, some people are very respectful. I don't care how you feel, but you have to remember there's a lot of history with Hulk Hogan in WWE, so don't take it the wrong way, guys. Now, our opening match, we have Jaida Parker versus Jaznym Nyx. Now, of course, we have seen the Fatal Influence always been trying to prove that they are, in fact, the top of the food chain. And we know that Jaida Parker has been aiming for the top for the past couple of months. And this will be a perfect test to prove herself why. And she was able to do that when she took out Jaznym Nyx with the Hypnotic, and that started right there with the 1, 2, 3 is over. But the obvious question we ask ourselves now, I have noticed, could this be the beginning of the end of Fatal Influence? I don't know. We'll see about that. Now, Javon Evans was in a backstage. He got really into getting into a confrontation with High Rise, who, of course, he has no business for. Then he runs in with Chase U, as you know. Andre Chase is telling, of course, Uriah Connor and Kale Dixon that they need to focus on the big dogs. And of course, um, that's when, of course, Javon Evans told him, he's right. You guys got to go after the big dogs. As of right now, I'm going on stage. And that's where he was going. He was in the ring talking about the advice that he got from The Undertaker. He said he was going after the big dog in NXT. However, that was interrupted by Trick Williams, our current TNA World Champion. However, I had that distinct feeling Javon Evans wasn't talking about Trick Williams. I think his real ambition is to go after the NXT Championship. Now, of course, Trick acts like he thinks he is still on top with that TNA World title, but I think Javon is like saying, dude, I do not see you with that title. And of course, High Rise, they're trying to prevent Javon Evans from ever reaching the top, believing that, hey, dude, you stay in the bottom. That's where it is. But Javon Evans, I have to say, he is the underdog and the one person who doesn't stay down until someone tells him to, or he cannot move. And he fought in a 4-on-1 scenario with these two guys. So, yeah. Now, following, of course, what we saw with Uriah Connor and Kale Dixon, they decided to show up and try to attack with chairs on the current NXT Tag Team Champions. But they're like, wait a minute, guys, hold on. If you just guys wanted a tag team title match, all you got to do was ask. And they're like, really? Yes, really. It's not that hard to say, hey, guys, look, we want to be the next challengers. So, look, we'll talk to Ava. We'll get it going. So it's like, all we got to do was ask. Of course you got to do an ask. I mean, we have people who do, you have to ask. And there's those who are being jackasses that are trying to, of course, jump you from behind. So there's those type of people. Now, our next match, I wasn't aware about this until from last week. It turns out that Charlie Dempsey and Tavion Heights are once again on each other's face. So Bubba Ray, as you know, said this to Tavion Heights. He said that if you beat Charlie Dempsey, you're out. However, if you lose to him, you have to show that smile when you're still with the No Quarter Catch crew. So that's what happened. I was surprised how Tavion Heights took out a guy like Charlie Dempsey. I mean, Charlie, he is a strong competitor, very technical. He knows what he's doing. But somehow Tavion Heights was able to apply the belly-to-belly suplex, which helped them win a lot of matches. He picked up the weight, and now he's out of No Quarter Catch crew. Now, Travis Williams, along with High Rise, as you probably can guess, they still had to deal with Javon Evans. But Wesley told Trick Williams that he would like to have, of course, DuPont and Igwe to try to get a shot of the TNA tag team belts. But Santino Marella tells him that sooner or later the TNA world title will be back where it belongs. But of course, Trick Williams doesn't believe that. But we do know there are those that are determined to do so. And if I have to make a betting bet, there is one person I can definitely think could do it, and that is, of course, Moose. So maybe so it could be him, but we'll see. Now, moving on. Blake Monroe, as you know, comes out. Apparently, if you guys heard, Booker T called her Monica Monroe, and Blake was not happy about it. He was, Booker T, he was like, didn't care what she was saying about him, like if she was going to beat the crap out of him. I was like, Book, didn't you hear what she just call you because you messed up? I don't care. I'm like, if I were you, Book, pay attention. But of course, Lola Vice tells her, you look beautiful on the outside, but deep down you're ugly. But it appears now that everybody in the NXT roster, we had Jaida Parker, Kalani Jordan, they're all making their statements saying, of course, that someone like Blake Monroe hasn't even made a real statement yet. Of course, because Blake Monroe thinks she's the one who deserves it more. So we'll see what happens. Now, the Culling, as you probably can guess, are happy about certain things that's going to happen. It seems that Tatum Paxley is making her play for the NXT North American Women's Championship. So, of course, that brings the Culling happy. And then Luke Crucifino shows up. I don't know what is going on here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to join the Culling. So we'll see where that goes. Now, once again, of course, we've been seeing Briggs and Josh Briggs and Yoshiko Inamura getting each other's faces once again. And then Slacks get into Inamura's face until he got slapped in the face. And just like that, it was over. But, however, Inamura told him that he'll be dealing with him next week. But if you guys saw that scene at the end of that sequence, we did see Ariana Grace and Stax. For those who do not know this, those two are a real life couple, and not to mention they are engaged to be married. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of angle between those two, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. We've seen that type of angle before countless times, either in AEW or in WWE or TNA. It doesn't matter where, but it plays out pretty well. Now, once again, we have Wesley versus Javon Evans. As you know, Wesley is determined to reach the top, but he is trying to ensure Javon Evans stays where he's supposed to stay, in the bottom. But Javon Evans, he's the kind of guy who's like, I don't give a damn what you think, because I'm going to make my mark and I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what he was doing. However, of course, Javon Evans has one obstacle. We have Tweedledee and Tweedledum at ringside. I'm talking about Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Ewig by the side, but it failed miserably until Javon Evans put him in a cutter, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, we did see, of course, Ava, our general manager Ava, talking with the Prime Minister of Evolve, and of course Mr. Stone, about the condition of Jordan Grace, who's out on injury due to what happened last week when she was taken out by Blake Monroe, until Lexis King shows up calling Miles Bourne a fraud. He doesn't think that he's deaf, but however, Ava decided to give him a match against Miles Bourne next week, so we'll see where that goes from there. Now, our main event is the NXT North American Championship, Santino Marella versus, of course, Ethan Page. Now, I've been fully aware what Ethan Page did with the title. He decided to give it Canadian colors because, of course, it's no secret for those who live in North America, Canada is part of that. No, it's not part of the U.S. Like we've been hearing in some crap about, that Canada is going to be a first 51 state. It's not going to happen, guys. I've been hearing that from a lot of people. Not to mention, of course, we did Santino Marella, and I think it was a pretty interesting match to see it. Not the best one, but of course Ethan Page was going to walk out as the winner because he gave the thumb to the eye to Santino and then the cutter, and just like that, he retained the championship. However, the programming ends with Tony D'Angelo having dinner, but someone showed up. We don't know what that means. What exactly does this mean for Tony D'Angelo? Is this the end for him? Is he gonna? Someone took him out? We don't know. That is still the unanswered question that we still don't have any necessary to understand. But we'll see what happens. But as of right now, we'll end things here with our reviews with NXT, and ended, of course, our episode with some news updates. So let's get to it. Our news updates. So let's begin as always with upcoming events. We have a big load on this one. Let's start with, of course, the GCW updates. As you know, this coming Friday we have the Hit 'em Up show, and it features, of course, 2 matches. The GCW title will be defended if Effie is still the champion. He'll defend it against Crowbar in ECW original, in case anybody knows. And then, of course, we have Slade versus Dr. Redacted. Well, that's going to be a brutal death match for sure. Then we have the emo fight taking place on the 2nd of August. We have, of course, what is it called? A studded belt strap match between Drew Parker, Justin Finn, and then, of course, we have Brian Keith versus Zach Wentz. Then we have the Bloodsport event, number 14, on the 2nd of August as well. The War Raiders, Ivar and Eric, will be making their debut. Then Homecoming at the Atlantic City on the 23rd, I believe, with Dr. Redacted versus Ultra Mantis Black. And as you know, we have the Showcase WWE ID show taking place on the 1st of August. We have Timothy Thatcher versus Aaron Rogue. And then on the JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling, high noon on the 3rd of August, there's a number 1 contender scramble. We have Charles Mason versus Manny Lowe versus Mr. Danger versus Mr. Ryan Clancy versus Kevin Koo versus Emerson Jane. So that's going to be interesting. Yoshi Promotion Marvelous has announced for upcoming event on August 8th in Corkin Hall, and it's a real stack event. So let me pull up that one. We have the AAW Tag Team Belt, Spark Rush, consisting of Takumi Iroha and Suri. They defend their belts against Team 200 kilograms. So that's going to be an interesting match. Then we have, of course, the Marvelous versus Marty Gold match. Representing Marvelous, we have Miyu Momono, Maria Senka Akatsuki, Riko Kawahara, and of course Eihausen. Representing Marty Gold, we have Utami Ayashida, Miku Ano, Victoria Yuzuki, Kimomo Minami, and Sari Yamaoka. So that's pretty much what's happening in Marvelous. Of course, as you know, we have the Wrestling Revolver ID, Wrestling Revolver Jerry Lane Invitational taking place on August 19th. We have more names added into the Invitational. We have Rich Swann on number 12. On number 13, we have Jay Christ. Number 14, Crash. And then finally, number 15, JJ Garrett. And then there's a last man standing match not involved part of the Invitational. We have Ace Austin versus Damian Chambers. Now, the first round matches involving the Jerry Lane Invitational, this is what we have. We have a three-way match, Gringo Loco versus Ninja Mac versus Dante Leon. Then we have Priscilla Kelly versus her fiance, Zachary Wentz. This is going to be interesting. And then we have, of course, a four-way, Rich Swann versus BDE versus Jay Chris versus Brent Oakley. So basically, that's pretty much what we have so far. Then we have the Beast Coast event on the 10th of August by Deadlock Pro Wrestling, DPW. Cedric Alexander will team up with the Workhorsemen. They take on LeBron Cozone, Calvin Tankman, and Manny Lowe. DDT has announced for the upcoming Wrestle Peter Pan show taking place on the 30th of August. Zack Sabre Jr. will team up with his protege, Kosa Fujita, to take on Chris Brooks and Takashi Masada. So that's going to be interesting. And then we have, of course, finally with French promotion Banger Zone Wrestling, BZW, with French Touch taking place on the 30th. There's going to be a three-way match. We have Anglin Blanc, Bobby Lashley making his Banger Zone Wrestling debut, and then finally Mecca. So yes, so that's pretty much. If you guys are surprised to find out Bobby Lashley is going to French for this, yes, I am a bit surprised, but that's pretty much what I did find out. Now to some developments. We only have two of these. The first one, this was coming from Fightful Select. It was reported that it seems that the Happy Gilmore 2 producers had an interest in having Cody Rhodes to be part of it. Now, it's still unclear why it did not happen, what role that they were initiating to have, but hopefully one day we'll find out. So, if anybody knows why Cody didn't got the role, please leave a comment down below on that. I would like to know. And then finally, from Fightful Select, Big Boom AJ mentioned about who is his current Mount Rushmore of AEW, and he mentioned Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page. So those are his Mount Rushmore currently in AEW. But I gotta ask you guys, who is currently your Mount Rushmore of AEW? For me, it's Kenny Omega, Hangman, Will Ospreay, and of course Swerve. So those guys are, to me, just like AJ, they're currently my current Mount Rushmore of AEW. So we'll see what happens from there. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Coming up, as you probably know, New Japan continues with the G1. I believe we're focusing on the B block matches, so stay tuned for that. We have WWE Evolve, and of course we have an AEW Dynamite. Now, as you all know, I did not witness that, but I am fully aware that Jon Moxley will have another opportunity of the AEW World Title against Hangman. That is something I'm fully aware. So we'll see how things roll. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be a special announcement for all of you regarding this coming weekend. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, I'll say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.